Well, welcome to another episode of Commissioner's Corner. I'm Kitsap County Commissioner Josh Brown. I'm here with Shar Burnett, of course, from BCAT, and we're on location. We've done this a few times. Shar got me out of the studio, and we're actually here on Clear Creek, over at the Red Barn, which you see behind us here. In Clear Creek, the Clear Creek Task Force, Shar does wonderful things in our community. We were just catching up about a lot of the good projects that they're working on right now. They're doing some new projects over at the Markwick property just north of Wagaway. But you look at this entire wonderful trail system, and it's a group of volunteers that have made it come together here in Silverdale in the heart of our commercial center as a county. It's pretty spectacular.
It's fabulous. It's such a... I've had friends and family stay at the Silverdale Hotel, and I tell them to take a walk on this. They're just amazed at how the proximity to the Silverdale core and this beautiful, beautiful stretch of trail. It's fabulous.
It's a community amenity
really
we take for granted pretty easily around here.
Yeah. We encourage, keep growing, keep pushing the trail and keep developing and keep making it good for everybody. Picnic shelters and, the addition of the dog park close by. It's all really fabulous stuff. Really great stuff. So we've got a few things to talk about.
All right, back to work.
Back to work we go in this beautiful setting. But first of all, let's talk about the roundabout. Chico Way, Silverdale Way, Newberry Hill Road.
There you go. It's a big project and it's under construction. So, I think the important thing to share with the public about the project is that this is phase one of widening the entire corridor from the Newberry Hill exit off Highway 3 into town. So the county, we're not in a capacity, and nor are any other local jurisdictions, to be able to take the entire corridor and widen it over time, widen it at once. So what we've chosen to do is to break it up into phases. And phase one is this bottleneck at the intersection of Chico Way and Newberry Hill and Silverdale Way. We're going to be putting the new roundabout in place. This will help traffic control. It's designed for a 4-lane boulevard. Right now it's only a 2-lane road. And as we complete this project later in the year, this will allow us then to move into other projects that will help widen from Anderson Hill Road up to the roundabout, and eventually from the roundabout to the freeway. This corridor needs to be 4 lanes.
Yeah, it does.
So it's phase one, and a lot of folks have asked me, what the point of the project is, or why is the county doing it. It's in recognition that we need to widen this whole corridor, and at some point we're going to have to make some type of improvements to this intersection. So we chose to do this project first, then to be able to come back and widen the corridor over time.
Good.
It's also, I just would quickly add, it's also going to be an incredible gateway into town. We're thinking about, and we're working with the Central Kitsap Community Council, trying to come up with ways that we can have a welcome to Silverdale sign and really make it a nice gateway into our community.
Beautiful. And as we see more roundabouts in our community, and some of them have been around for a long time, specifically the one in Port Orchard, that's been there for years. We've added some in Bremerton and some in Silverdale. They're efficient. As long as people confident get in the lane and go, don't hesitate.
Yeah, they have to be designed correctly.
Yeah.
And I think there's some locations where they don't make sense. If you're down in Gig Harbor, where you have 4 points of egress, that gets a little too complicated. But if you have places where you only have 3 points of egress, it works quite well. And that's the situation on Silverdale Way for the Chico Newberry exit, and that's what they have in Port Orchard. And the roundabout in Silverdale is going to be roughly the size of the Port Orchard
fairly
roundabout.
Large.
So it's going to be large. There's going to be a lot of good points, and one of the advantages to us as a county, not only does it help traffic flow, so you don't have folks stopping at red lights, but the maintenance of roundabouts is significantly less than signals. We don't have to hire crews and put resources to maintain traffic signals and make sure the technology is updated. So once a roundabout is built, it's basically just normal paving upgrades and maintenance that we have to do with any of our other roads.
So directly adjacent to where we're sitting, Josh and I are facing Buckland Hill Road.
That's right. You might be able to hear it.
You might be able to hear it. It's a busy road, and there's some major changes that are going to happen right on this bridge, the Buckland Hill Bridge, and that's going to be 2014.
That's right. Well, as we're looking across the Clear Creek right now, we're looking at the at Buckland Hill and how it forms a couple culverts right in the creek.
Right.
Right now, we have a bottleneck on Buckland Hill Road right at Clear Creek, where it's a 2-lane road. It's one of our older roads that were built when Silverdale was developed, and there's just a few small culverts that restrict flow access. So the county has a project, which we've been working on. We're up to about 30% design, to remove the culverts, to widen this road to 4 lanes, and to put a bridge in place. So this will help congestion relief on one of our busiest corridors. It will help the estuary by having more natural flows. And the county is also working closely with the Clear Creek Task Force and others to make sure that however this bridge is designed, it's going to have accessibility so that folks using the trail will have much better access to the waterfront. You might remember a few years ago, we installed a pedestrian signal right here at Clear Creek. And that was because folks couldn't cross over to the waterfront from Clear Creek trails.
Difficult.
So this is a big project for us. 2014 is right around the corner. Again, we're right in the middle of design. One of the things, though, that I'm really happy to report is the county has applied for federal transportation grants through the Puget Sound Regional Council. There were 2 funding cycles that we recently received notification on, and we received $5.8 million of grants for this project. It's right now about a $13 million construction project. So almost half the money so far we've been able to obtain through competitive grants. Over the next year, we're going to be applying for other grants, and we hope that we'll be able to increase that dollar amount. But this is a massive project. It's a project that is going to be, along with Greaves Way, the largest one that the county has built since I've been county commissioner. But it's a really good project.
Yeah.
And I think when we complete it, it's going to be a project the community is going to be really proud of. I think it'll be a good landmark here on the water, and I think not only will it have good transportation benefits, but we're going to have good benefits for those who use the trails and good environmental impacts as well.
Mm-hmm. And those of us that use Buckland Hill on a regular basis know what a bottleneck it is, and especially right here when it gets narrow here.
Yeah.
So to have a 4-way road literally from Silverdale Way to, actually it'll take you all the way to Central Valley Road.
Yeah.
It'll be just awesome, just a great throughway.
So the 2 projects we talked about, the Silverdale Way Roundabout and the Buckland Hill Bridge, both of these projects are part of the county's plans to improve strategically corridors in Silverdale. We have a number of corridors that are 4 or 5 lane boulevards. We have a number of roads that are 2 or 3 lane roads. And the county recognizes that we have congestion in Silverdale. It's a busy place. Silverdale is going to continue to grow. So we've picked both Silverdale Way out to the Newberry Hill freeway, out to State Route 3 at the Newberry Hill exit, and then we've chosen Buckland Hill as the 2 corridors that we want to widen to 4 or 5 lanes.
Excellent.
To help reduce congestion. So those are the corridors that we've been working on up on Buckland Hill at Tracy, and you saw a couple years ago we added a few turn lanes which have helped congestion on Buckland.
Nice.
I think in 2007 or 2008 we added traffic signals to help manage the congestion and manage the egress points. So this is part of a broader strategy that we're implementing in Silverdale. Getting a lot of good projects moving forward.
Yeah, it's great. Really great to see. So we're enjoying the August weather. Summer is finally here. And but pretty soon the reality of budget time is going to be hitting the county, and it's already in preparation.
Right.
And the county's preparing for some budget hearings, and the county has included citizens for years, and now citizens sit on a panel with the commissioners and department heads to really talk about the money and where it's going to go. And that'll be starting in September. So has been refined. The process has been refined. It used to be at a big table. Now we've really refined it to folks sitting at the dais and kind of streamlined it. But it is an important process.
We're very proud of the fact that we have a very open and transparent budget process. I think we're the only government entity that I'm aware of locally that has more citizens on the budget committee than elected officials. That's to solicit input. We televise all of our budget meetings. We put them online. We put them on BCAT to share with the public. So we're very transparent, and it gives the opportunity for all of our county departments, Sheriff's Office, the prosecutor, the courts, the departments that report to the county commissioners. It gives everybody an opportunity to be able to present their budget challenges, what's going on, what their needs are, and help provide a forum where we can make the right decision. And I have to say, the thing that I'm probably most proud of as commissioner is the fact that we've gone through the last 6 years the deepest recession our country has faced since the Great Depression. And our county's financial footing today is stronger than when I took office in 2007. My first year as commissioner, when we had the boom years, when the real estate market was at its all-time peak, when construction was happening, when folks were able to refinance their homes, pull out tens of thousands of dollars of equity, go buy new vehicles, go buy electronics, when the economy was that robust, the county, before I became commissioner, had structural deficits that it would run just to meet payroll. Even in those boom years, the county wasn't was having to dip into reserves to be able to meet payroll, even with revenue growth at all-time highs.
Wow.
We've gone through a pretty traumatic recession. Our revenues today, as part of our budget in 2012, are about $13 million lower for an expenditure budget than when I took office. So we've made dramatic cuts as a county. But what's, I think, remarkable, and I think what's very compelling, is the fact that as we've weathered through this recession, and a recession is when a government entity or a business, if you have reserves, that's the time to dip into them to help stabilize your revenues and to help stabilize your organization. The county dipped into reserves during the depths of the recession. But today, here we are in August of 2012, the county has higher reserves today in our general fund than when the recession started. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is.
So we've been able to build up reserves over the past few years during this time where the recession is stabilizing and we have economic growth, and it's, albeit it's slower than any of us would like. We'd like to see lower unemployment rates. We'd like to see the economy grow faster. But the county's in a stronger financial position today than we have been in any time that I've been county commissioner. And weathering the storm of the recession has been an enormous challenge, and we've met it successfully. So we have higher reserves today. The county's bond rating was upgraded about a year and a half, 2 years ago. This was around the same time that the federal government had its bond rating downgraded. So we have great financial controls in place. And as we look to the budget for 2013, the message that the commissioners have given in our budget call letter to the departments is that this isn't the time to create or add new positions. This is the time to make sure that we have a sustainable financial footing for the future. So the board, every decision that we're making as part of this budget process is going to be focused on what are the decisions we should be making today as we're preparing the 2013 budget that will help the county have a more sustainable financial picture in the long term. So, as we're looking at our collective bargaining agreements, all of which are open right now, as we'll be submitting to our employees proposals from the Board of County Commissioners, as we're working with the departments, as we're starting this budget process, this is the first year that I've been commissioner that our revenues that we're projecting and that will likely be reality are actually higher than the previous year. Every other year, we've had lower revenues than the previous year, which is an amazing thing to think about, how you build a budget when every year your revenues are lower. So our revenues are about $800,000 higher than the year prior. That's about a 1% increase, so it's not dramatic at all. But we feel pretty confident at the board that we have a good strategy and a good plan to move forward, so that as we're preparing the 2013 budget, it's sustainable, and it leaves us in a position where for the 2014-2015 budget, we're making decisions that are going to have long-term stabilizing effects on the organization. So I'm really proud of what we've been able to achieve, and I think there's a lot of other government entities that are still struggling with their budgets and trying to figure out how do they get things on track. We've been able to get things on track at the county. So the budget process is coming up. It's a lot of work, but I'm really looking forward to it because I think it's going to, frankly, for this 2013 budget, it's an opportunity for us to finally realize that a lot of those tough decisions we made a couple years ago, they've helped us get to a point so that in 2013 we can have a stable footing moving forward. So.
And if we hold the line next year, hopefully we can have even larger reserves and maybe even some money to spread around a little bit as the budget gets better. But Josh, I don't think the economy's going to be what we ever saw. It's
Never.
a total
It shouldn't
reset. You're
I mean,
right, it shouldn't be. It's a scary
you know, when,
thought.
I mean, when we had such a real estate bubble where folks were able to get financing for homes, you know, with almost no money or no money down, when folks were able to get into the levels of debt that they were, and then use that debt to be able to finance a lifestyle that they can afford, that's just not sustainable. So, you know, for the county, we don't want to go back to those days. You know, I think all of us would like to see unemployment, you know, in the low to mid single digits instead of where it is today.
Right.
You know, around 8%. So we still need to all work on that together. But, you know, I think for me and for the county, we've reduced a lot of personnel. We've reduced over 100 positions at the county. And I think, you know, for us, since we've been able to have this new normal in terms of staffing levels, what we're constantly working with the departments on is at these current staffing levels, let's make it work. And not only let's make it work, but how can we use technology to help ensure that we don't need to add new full-time equivalents, new employees in the future. So I'll give you one example and I think one of our departments that's been a big success over the years has been our assessor's office in Jim Avery. You know, Jim, I've lost track how many fewer employees he has today than when he took office as our county assessor, but it has to be at least 20. I think he's at 20 or 22 employees. I might even be on the low side.
That he's lost?
That he's reduced. And the reason why he's been able to reduce those number of employees and still be able to go out and meet his legal requirements, do property assessments on his rolling calendar per state statute, is technology. You know, in the past, folks would go out in the field, do work, write it down, bring it in the office, have to record everything, do data entry.
Right.
Today, folks have their tablets. You know, they go out in the field, they do assessments, and as they're doing the assessments, they're entering the data, goes into the database for our assessor treasurer system, and the job's done. So the duplication of service is not going on. And we're doing that across our entire organization. Now, there are some things that, you know, where you have to have people do the work. It's our sheriff's deputies out on patrols.
Right.
It's our road crews, snow plowing, or road crews doing asphalt overlays or maintenance. There's some things that are very labor intensive where technology doesn't have as much of an impact. But there's a lot of things, and those tend to be the more administrative desk jobs where technology has a very powerful impact. You know, the assessor's office is a great example. But I point to our court system. District court used to have just reams and reams and reams of files and paperwork going back and forth.
Right.
You think of the thousands of cases that are going through district court every year for misdemeanors, minor infractions, things that are coming up that are just generating just tons and tons of paperwork. Well, now our district court judge and Maury Baker, our district court administrator, they've put a process in place for going away from the paper files and having everything electronic. Our Superior Court hasn't done it yet, but I have great hopes that our Superior Court judges, working with the clerk's office, will come up with a system so that they can do exactly what district court's doing. And frankly, when it's electronic for district court and when it becomes electronic for Superior Court, that helps make the prosecutor's office more effective.
Exactly.
So it does. It has big impacts, and I'm really proud that we're constantly looking at technology and how we can make the organization more efficient. And you know, and I'm really proud of what we've been able to do the last 6 years at the county.
Great. Josh, let's reflect a little bit on this past summer, and we are in August.
Yeah.
The county hosted a fabulous 13-year-old Babe Ruth tournament. The county fair happened. You know, we've had some great things happen for our citizens. You know, locally we had some Olympians. We had Nathan Adrian to be so proud of.
Right.
And, you know, those kind of things. The Babe Ruth World Series tournament. Huge event for these 13-year-olds. And this committee from Paulsbo did a fabulous job.
Yeah, you know, I grew up in Paulsbo, and I played Babe Ruth for North Kitsap. Babe
At
Ruth.
Snyder Field, I bet.
At Snyder Field, that's right. I only played as a 15, 16-year-old. But when we found out that the North Kitsap Babe Ruth Association was able to bring the 13 and 14-year-old World Series to Kitsap County, we were all excited. And I was personally very excited just because of the fact that I played Babe Ruth up in Paulsbo. And then, of course, we got the great opportunity as a county to be able to host the World Series at the Fairgrounds complex. So they had a wonderful parade and they had a wonderful opening banquet in Paulsbo and at Kayana Lodge.
That's right.
But the opening ceremonies and all the games were played at the Fairgrounds. So we were just ecstatic to be able to host everyone. The weather was perfect. And, you know, I hope folks had just a great time visiting Kitsap County and coming up to the Northwest. I know we had folks from throughout the country, so you know,
and
you
the
get
weather
the kids from
couldn't have been better.
Massachusetts, so
yeah,
they're coming.
and the weather's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of humidity here.
No,
like kids back in the Midwest and back east experience.
So it's just a great thing for the community, and
really is.
you know, it's great to showcase the Fairgrounds complex. Kitsap County Fair, again, a big success, and you know, the fair over the past few years, the county commissioners have been very thoughtful, working with our staff, trying to figure out ways that the fair over time is less dependent on county general fund resources. You know,
Right.
and this is one of these areas where, you know, as I shared a minute ago about our assessor and about the court system using technology, similarly for things like the fair, we want the fair to continue. It's an
Absolutely.
awesome community event. Folks have a great time. But doesn't mean we have to do things the way we've always done them. We can think outside the box and come up with new ways to do business and make the county's role evolve over time, and that's what we're doing with the fair. And you know, I know a couple of years ago, as the county said, you know, we weren't going to use general fund money to help fund the purse for the rodeo. You know, the county had some other policy changes that we've modified over time. You know, I had a lot of folks kind of get angry with me and say, well, the county commissioners, you know, you're not supporting the fair. Well, we are supporting the fair. What's happened is we've had more sponsors now step up and say, hey, if the county's not going to put the money into the rodeo purse, which quite honestly I don't think is a very responsible use of taxpayer dollars, spending money on a rodeo purse for prize money, we've had businesses in the community step up.
Right.
And the county said, listen, we want your support, we want your partnership, we want your ownership of this event. Let us know how we can change to be able to give you more opportunities to own this great event. And just briefly on Nathan Adrian, I know I've never met Nathan, but I know his dad fairly well, Jim Adrian. And you know, I'm not only proud of Nathan because he's a Bremerton native, but I'm proud of Nathan because he and I are two of the only UC Berkeley alumni in Kitsap County. And I have to say, when I ran for commissioner the first time, and even though I grew up in Paulsbo, graduated from North Kitsap, my dad still worked at the shipyard, I got so much grief from people about going to UC Berkeley. And I hope folks realize, not only do they have a commissioner who I think has done a good job for 6 years, but we have a gold medalist, you know, one of the greatest swimmers in Olympic history.
Yeah, right.
You know, we got Nathan Adrian, who went to my alma mater. So I'm very
That's
proud
awesome.
of it. I'm proud of Nathan, not only because of that he's a local boy, but I'm proud of him because he's a golden bear like I am.
He's a golden bear. That's
So.
awesome. Josh, thanks so much for meeting us today at Clear
This
Creek.
has been a lot of fun,
great
and it's been great to be able to get out and enjoy our community. So Shar, thanks so much for your time, and I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I hope if folks have questions, you don't hesitate to contact me at the county if you need any more information on anything we discussed today. Thanks for tuning in.